There's something really cool that I want you to know about. Imagine classical music, but outdoors, under the sun, perhaps even under the stars, with a little South African flair. That's Classic on Turf, a bold, homegrown event that's given classical music a fresh, modern twist. And here's the big news. Telkom has just come on board as the presenting partner all the way until 2027. It's the perfect match. Two brands rooted in heritage, both looking to the future. Together, they are creating spaces where music, culture and connection come alive, from Cape Town's Steenberg Greens to Joburg's Killarney Country Club. For more on this, we're joined by Mqondisi Gumede, who is the organizer. Mqondisi, thank you so much for joining us, man. Really do appreciate it. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
I played my first Classic on Turfs 3 years ago. That would have been, what, 2002? Yes, yes, 2002. And Kutlana Masota said to me, no matter how terrible your handicap is, at the time it was a 21 handicap, come and enjoy it. Second time I was down to a 16 and I'm now down to a 12.7. Let's round it up to a 13 handicap. Really enjoyed it, but I also really enjoyed what he did at the time with offering, you know, at the end of the day, under the stars, some classical classics. The Mozart, the Beethovens, some important concertos there, but also giving it a South African flavor. And that has become the identity of it. People love it. The crowd keeps growing year after year. Tell us what to expect this year.
Well, first, we'd like to take credit for your handicap improving over the years. So we definitely think that that's the inspiration that you get from the classical music in the evening. The crowds do keep growing. It's something that's become something of a feature on the Johannesburg cultural landscape.
Yeah.
This Friday, one of the things that you'll be able to experience is golf. And I hope that your viewers hear that if they play golf at Classics on Turf, they should look forward to an improvement in their handicap. As the sun sets, one of the things that we do is we have an orchestra under the baton of Kutlana Masota. And this Friday, we have Judith Sapuma, who will be joining this orchestra with her band in order to create a really unique fusion. It's the fusion of classical and the repertoire of Judith Sapuma, which, you know, is a staple, is a favorite of people, not just in Johannesburg, but around the country. And this accessibility, blending golf, blending classical music, making sure that people who are not necessarily steeped in classical music tradition can also come through the door of familiar classics like A Smile, A Cry and a Dance, Iya Iyo, Memotswadi, and come and feel at home is something that I think is resonating with Johannesburg, and would encourage you to experience it once again.
Yeah. I remember coming up that 18th green, which has the pond to its left, really beautiful water feature there.
Yep.
And as that was happening, it was drizzling ever so lightly. And of course, you're beginning to enjoy that drizzle after a long, hot day in the sun. But the orchestra was setting up and you could hear them in the background. And that was a magical moment for us. And it's really about creating that magical moment. But many people are like, yeah, I like the golf, not the classical music. And some might say, I like the classical music, not the golf. Why should they go for both?
I think we're patient about being accessible. Classics on Turf is built around this accessibility. So there are a number of people who were golfers only and then were curious about what happened in the evening.
Yeah.
And as they lent an ear, they found that actually this is something that they'd like to experience again and again. There are people who listen to classical music only who are interested in the golf. And one of the improvements to Classics on Turf, the enhancements, that now we have a golf clinic. A golf clinic that starts at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. We have 2 sessions, 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. And what takes place there are people experiencing golf for the first time. There's some eats, some drinks. It's a relaxed environment, but people in a group start to experience different things. And I think this platform of connection that we're building, connection between people who otherwise may not have met, people who see themselves as golfers and not music aficionados, musical appreciators who don't see themselves as golfers, they come together and that blend is starting to really provide something special. So we think that the accessibility of the platform to enter in many ways and to enjoy everything that's on offer is something unique about it, and is something that provides a lot of enjoyment.
What do you say to those who think that South Africa doesn't have a rich history of classical music, and why should we hold on to that? Why should we try to take this thing that is thought of to be this Western thing, or at least the epitome of the Western imperial culture, and try to infuse our own? I mean, Marcus Wyatt does a really beautiful thing with the Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra, where they take just South African jazz classics and they give them an important steep in classical music. We've seen Kutlwano Masote himself do something very interesting with the Soweto Youth Orchestra and getting them inculcated into classical music, and that offers a really important cultural moment at the Soweto Theatre in Soweto every other year. Why should we still care about classical music?
Well, classical music at its core is an endeavor of many different types of musical disciplines in one. It's one of those things where people who play violins, timpani, who are from the wind and who are from the brass sections all come together and embrace bands from other genres as well, like jazz, like other musical art forms, and it is all orchestrated to be harmonious. In our day and age, certainly in the line of work that you do, you'll see that there are many divisions and many types of ways which people are being pulled apart. The universal nature of music to pull everyone together is best demonstrated in this very big sound that has many people accumulated in the endeavor of providing music. Not only that, if we speak about Kutlwano Masote, who we have the great pleasure of having as our musical curator, his dad, for example, started the Soweto Symphony Orchestra. So in the 1970s, for example, in Pimville, in Naledi, it was not an unfamiliar sight to see people carrying odd-shaped instruments, walking around and playing different types of music. You fast forward now, not only is Kutlwano foremost in blending these various types of music together. So if you look at Judith Sepuma, who has a South African repertoire, we had Paul Hanmer recently, Don Lager recently, and the fusion of these types of music shows us that it is not something that's exclusive, it is not something that's elitist, it's something that is a blend, it's a fusion. And that's when the universality of music really binds us together rather than, puts us apart and scatters us into our corners. The final thing that I would say is that at one of the editions of Classes on Turf, unfortunately I didn't spot you in the audience for that particular one, but we played the songs of Princess Makoko. And these are Zulu written, Zulu performed, Zulu sung compositions by a princess of the Zulu nation. And one of the things that you find there is that no matter the art form, there are musical influences that tie us all together. And so we don't take the view that we are excluding anyone. We don't take the view that it is a vestige of a particular culture. We look for the things that provide the commonalities.
Just lastly, I'm a bit of a purist on this. I prefer my classical music or orchestra performances in an auditorium with controlled acoustics. But this is in the open air. And it gives an interesting experience to the music because you experience it with the elements, where it be a light drizzle, the wind, the birds chirping, which, by the way, Killarney Country Club has a great deal of really interesting bird species that you might hear, the ducks quacking in the background. It all makes it all come alive. Why an open air when you could go inside of the clubhouse?
So there are a number of things to say about that. The first is to say that Classes on Turf, even though it happens open air, it is rainproof in the sense that if ever the weather does want to play along with us, we always have an indoor venue that allows the concert to go on no matter what the weather. The second thing to say is that there is a charm to the bright open skies of Johannesburg. We have 300 days a year of sunshine. It's something that's unique to this venue. Not only that, we have an urban forest, the likes of which very few other cities in the world can match. And we think that to drink this in with the sonic design, the sounds of the city mixed with tradition and innovating for the future is the right place to look to an expansive setting for what it is that we're trying to do.
Yeah, certainly a perfect blend between beautiful sonic landscape as well as a beautiful visual landscape.
Yes.
I haven't received my invitation yet. I don't know if I'm getting one, but now that you're here, I'm going to ask you about it. We'll talk about that off air. But thank you so much, Mqondisi, for coming in. Really do appreciate it.
I look forward to seeing you again. And worry not if the rain doesn't play along. The concert will definitely continue.
Yeah, and this time I'm certainly going a few under par at the end of that. That is Mqondisi Gumede, who's the organizer of Classics on Turf, taking place at the Killarney Country Club in Johannesburg this Friday.